You got the thumbs up? All right. Welcome everybody to the April 20th, 2021 public hearing. Its official time is 5:31. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Have approval of the agenda at this time.
So moved, Chairman.
Second? Second. All in favor, aye? Aye. Ayes have it. We have the annual CIE update. Mr. Greg,
Yes.
the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. So, the CIE update is something that Jones County prepares every single year as part of your comprehensive plan. Every community in the state of Georgia is required to have a comprehensive plan. And Jones County, by having an element known as the CIE, or a capital improvements element, takes basically an advanced planning step that allows y'all to focus on annual updates to your work program, what you intend to be spending capital improvements dollars on, and specifically also where you would spend impact fees. That's something that Jones County has the authority to charge and has activated that ability to. Currently, those fees are at zero, so no new revenues are being collected or received or being spent at this point. This is the year that all of that funding has been spent down. So we no longer have anything to report on for that going forward, but we will continue to do the annual work program update unless or until that impact fee ordinance is formally repealed. So just setting the rates at zero does not do that. It allows you the option, should you choose to reenact them in the future, to do so more easily, basically. So the main purpose of the public hearing then is to just highlight what some of the changes are to the community work program, which is your short-term to-do list for the next 5 years, basically. We met and developed this in consultation with staff, myself, Jason Risner, Tim Petrowski from the county, and then we also reached out to Ms. Haley Watson from the Development Authority and Chamber as well here too. Relatively minor changes proposed or noted in the work program this year, and this is actually the last year of the 5-year cycle before we do a full comprehensive plan update next year. So I'll be back very soon to start talking about that process and what all will entail doing a full comprehensive plan update. That will be a fresh opportunity to look at needs and opportunities within the community, to get increased stakeholder engagement, participation from the community, and basically to take a fresh look at everything in the plan. But for now, updates for this particular year, we were able to mark a few things off of the list as complete, one of those being the Sun Valley CDBG sewer project. Also able to mark off as complete work on purchasing body cameras for the Sheriff's Department. Then, let's see, for work on buffers around the Macon Water Authority project, that was one where, in consultation with Tim and Jason, we thought that could probably be removed from the list because most of that work has been done by the Macon Water Authority, and there is relatively little that the county has to do proactively in trying to purchase or obtain new lands in that area. That's just a water authority project that they're working on. And then the other new thing that was added, and this was from recommendation of staff, looking at a number of the work program items, they're pertaining to the scenic byway that goes through Jones County, which is designated from City of Gray north on State Route 11 and then going west on Round Oak Juliet Road. There were several work program items that were related to that that had relatively little movement or progress. So we recommended a new item that would actually be evaluating a scenic byway commission to determine if that would be necessary, to determine what entities, what stakeholders in the community might be necessary to bring to the table to see if there is a need for some of the other projects that have been highlighted, such as engagement with landowners on development codes or any other sort of preservation activities along the corridor. So basically that's the new action item, determine if anything additional is needed and do a study on that, basically. And that would be something that would be coordinated with the Planning and Zoning Office of Mr. Petrowski. So at this point, we'll just sort of ask and see if you have any questions regarding what some of the updates are, if there are other things that you see that need to be added, subtracted, marked off the list as complete.
When you were talking about the buffer around for the Macon Water Authority, do we know how much they needed and how much they have? If there are any gaps or any areas that don't have a buffer or have a minimum buffer that we might have some risk or something there?
Don't necessarily anticipate that. The plan referenced a watershed management document that we couldn't necessarily put our hands on or figure out what it was that it was necessarily referring to. Jason, I don't know if you've got anything to add on that, but
I think it's one of those things that got put in here at some point way back, and frankly, I didn't have any background on it, and I don't think Greg did either.
The Macon Water Authority may have that. I know originally, the original plan back in the early 90s was, I'm just estimating that it was going to be a 300 or 400 acre lake and 600 acre total. And then it wound up being 2,400 acres or something like that, and it's 600 or 800 acre lake. So I believe the buffer wound up being built into the entire project. But I do know that they have, what is part of their management plan is houses that border that property that are within a drain zone. If they have septic tank and they're not sewer attached to them, they have been trying to protect by buying up that property, just so that you won't have people using septic tanks that the bleeder fields can go down into the lake. So I just didn't know if there were any areas that they were looking at or we felt like might be a risk. I feel comfortable that we've got plenty of it, but I think for our part, maybe we, as being partners, is I don't know if we have to allow, I know it's private sales, but at some point, we got to look at the adverse effect it has on the county if we keep taking properties off the tax rolls.
Yeah.
So
That brings up a good question. I'm familiar with some of those properties they bought up, sitting on the tax board for 4 years. I'm aware that the Macon Water Authority has purchased bordering properties on the main body of land they have. And last time I checked on it, they were renting those properties out. And I would think if you bought a buffer property, you would just completely green space it, remove it, and not worry about septic infiltration.
Yeah.
Completely remove it. So I don't, and if they're renting it, then
yeah.
it's in a water authority, they are tax exempt. They aren't paying any taxes. So you lose the tax base, but you still have the risk going towards the lake.
Yeah, I know at one point there was, way back before the board that's on there now or any administration, there was a discussion about land that was taken eminent domain versus private sales. And eminent domain says that you can't use it for a profit or you can't use it for a business or anything like that. So I think those properties that were acquired by eminent domain are probably not being used. But if it's a private sale, it gets back to the, if we take it off the tax digest and then it's not a protector of, if it's bought as a protection for the buffer, that's one thing, but if it's not being used. But I do understand that, and in speaking with Water Authority at one time, it was more of to reduce the amount of growth. So if somebody had a 10-acre lot and they had one house on it, that wouldn't wind up being 10 or 12 houses on that 10-acre lot. So it was more or less protecting the land. There was no more risk than was there when they bought it, but they were protecting from additional risk to the water. So.
yeah, and if I can add on that, one of the things that the health department would do in the regular process of permitting any septic tank is they would look out for the potential, drain field impacts from that. So we didn't necessarily think that what was in the county's work program was referencing that. And we didn't want it to inadvertently be read as the county encouraging that property to go off the tax digest. So, it's not a statement of we don't support the Macon Water Authority. It's also, we wanted to make clear that it's not a statement of we want them to have even more property and to have less on the tax digest.
Yeah.
So because of the current state of the partnership, we didn't think that there was anything proactively that needed to be stated in the work program on it.
Yeah, and just to be clear, that is a, you know, we a lot of times people will say, well, Water Authority this and Water Authority, but we got to remember that several years ago, you know, all the way up to Atlanta, nobody had water. So that was a that was a saving grace for a lot of people when we didn't have water. So, I mean, it is something that not a lot of other counties have, a regional water source like that protected. So that's a good thing.
So the document that you have there in front of you, just to briefly walk through what's in there, the first 10 pages or so is the actual work program, which will look, you know, very, very similar to last year. Beyond that, we've got a few pages that highlight some of the actual achievements from the previous year. And then the very last page is just the financial report for the impact fees. You'll see a whole bunch of zeros there. So the request, and I think we realized this was not on the agenda yet for this evening, would like to request that it get added to the agenda, is simply to start the review process for this with the Georgia Department of Community Affairs. They have up to 60 days where DCA can review this, provide comments, feedback on the document. They may take all 60, they may only take 30, or may take 15 of them. But at the end of that review process, the document will then come back to the county for final approval. So if you see anything or see anything that needs to be changed in the meantime, please let me know, and we can continue to make changes and additions to that. But a request this evening that will be coming up during the council meeting will be just to start that 60-day review clock. So. Any other questions or anything else I can answer or talk about at this time?
I don't think so yet. It shows the working relationship we've had with the Regional Commission for some time now. These are projects that have been going on for a long time, and y'all have been involved with them since pretty much day one.
Indeed. We're very happy to assist with all of them.
How long have you been there now, Greg?
It'll be 7 years next month.
Oh, woo. All
So,
right.
yeah.
We greatly appreciate your Regional Commission and your efforts.
Well, we appreciate our continued partnership with Jones County.
Good deal.
So,
Any other questions? Anything else for our work session?
All good.
All right. Let's adjourn our work session.
alrighty.
I need a
Motion to adjourn.
I can't make the motion. I need a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, aye.